Love him or hate him, Dwayne Johnson is a big personality. The man formerly known as The Rock is also the kind of celebrity that isn't as common as they used to be, dominating nearly everything he tries, from WWE superstar to old-fashioned movie star, and making up for any deficiencies with sheer charisma. However, few can reach that level of success or notoriety without attracting several detractors. Whether they don't like his business strategies, can't stand his acting work, or even just hate being around him, plenty of stars can't stand Johnson. Among the cast of characters who've made an enemy of Johnson, fellow professional wrestlers fill most of the roster. This presents an interesting issue in these well-publicized feuds. Wrestlers operate under an all-important rule called kayfabe, which demands a full-time commitment to the scripted nature of the sport's ever-expanding narrative. As a result, some antipathy between WWE icons exists only within the fiction. They may appear to hate each other, only to spend their off time hanging out as pals. Johnson's story includes plenty of those staged quarrels, but the macho personalities that gravitate toward the WWE tend to find reasons to fight behind the scenes. Plus, plenty of pro wrestlers are just terrible people. All the same, Johnson is a big enough star to attract haters in and out of the ring. Vin Diesel. Born Mark Sinclair, Vin Diesel is one of the most notable action stars in the world. He's the face of the seemingly eternal Fast and Furious franchise, catapulting him to the forefront of action cinema with the power of 1,000 V8 engines. One multi-million-dollar film empire would be enough, but Diesel is also the star of the Riddick film series and an icon in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's one of very few people famous enough to engineer a blockbuster action film for his own Dungeons & Dragons character. Over the years, he's worked with a lot of fellow action stars, including Dwayne Johnson, leading to a tense clash of personalities. The feud between Johnson and Diesel mostly took place over social media. Some sources reported disagreements on the set of the 2016 film, The Fate of the Furious, leading Johnson to level some accusations against unnamed castmates. Diesel claimed that their negative interactions were closer to good-natured ribbing, but others claimed that Johnson was frequently late to set, angering Diesel. In 2021, Johnson walked away from the Fast saga. Diesel called Johnson to return to the upcoming 10th entry, which Johnson initially cited as an example of Diesel's manipulative nature. Johnson did return for a brief cameo, reportedly setting up a standalone solo film for Johnson's character. Altogether, the relationship between Diesel and Johnson seems to waver wildly between brotherly bullying and genuine antipathy. Tyrese Gibson. Tyrese Gibson is a man of many talents. Most probably know him as an actor in action franchises, but he's also a musician and model of some repute. He exploded onto the scene in 1998, when his debut album spent 36 weeks on Billboard's Top 200. Since then, Gibson released 4 more albums that made it to that list, one of which made it to the top spot. Outside of his music, Gibson is also a successful action star. He appears in massive blockbusters like Transformers and Death Race, but his most notable role was that of Roman Pierce in 7 of the 10 entries of the Fast and Furious saga. It was in that family-focused franchise that Gibson met Dwayne Johnson. In 2017, Gibson commented on Instagram about Johnson's perceived dominance over the Fast franchise. He sarcastically congratulated Johnson and Johnson's producing partner for making the Fast and the Furious franchise about you, and playfully wondered whether the next entry would earn a comparably terrible critical response to Johnson's Baywatch. The issue that prompted Gibson's anger seems to be Johnson's spin-off project, which allegedly pushed back the date of the 9th Fast and Furious film. This apparent anger towards Johnson didn't last long, as in the following year, Gibson spoke to the Red Pill podcast, calling his decision to air that grievance publicly unprofessional. He did not, however, apologize. CM Punk. Philip Jack Brooks aka CM Punk has been something of a phenom in the world of sports entertainment. Brooks took the name CM Punk in the late 1990s, several years before he would make his 2005 debut in the WWE. In a few short years, he saw his success balloon and claimed an exceptionally long reign as the WWE champion, despite his long-standing feud with the WWE. Shortly after that stellar run, Brooks took a crack at non-scripted fighting, which led to a widely mocked 0-2 record in the UFC. Instead, he returned to the WWE and found a gig commentating over MMA brawls and even managed to pop up in a few horror films. Brooks' voice remains loud in WWE circles, amplifying his harsh words toward Dwayne Johnson. Brooks took a few shots at Johnson in promos, but those fit comfortably into the scripted nature of WWE. His more unpleasant comments tend to come out of traditional interviews, such as when he attacked Johnson's performance in an interview with Mark Madden. He was quick to assure the interviewer that his issues with Johnson were professional rather than personal. Brooks took issue with the positive attention Johnson received for bringing eyes to WWE, claiming Johnson didn't do anything on the show. Brooks considered Johnson's character and performance old and corny. His critiques went beyond in-ring bouts, arguing against Johnson as a performer in general. Randy Orton. Randy Orton was almost destined for greatness in the world of wrestling. The Orton family has been a fixture of the industry for decades, but Randy quickly became the most popular representative of the surname, being only 24 years old the first time he won the WWE World Championship belt. Orton and Dwayne Johnson are two of the only WWE superstars to take home the belt after 2 generations of their families did the same. Johnson was the first to achieve that accomplishment, but Orton was the first to do so with blood relatives. Though this coincidence and their tremendous net worth connects the two of them, Orton is less than friendly to Johnson outside the ring. Orton joined the chorus of wrestlers weighing in on a potential return of The Rock to the ring. WWE pros including Orton took exception to Johnson going Hollywood, so his comeback ruffled some feathers. Orton also shared an iconic rivalry with John Cena, whom he considered to be one of the finest wrestlers in the WWE stable. He told the Gamer that Cena was 10 times the performer in the ring that The Rock is. He even called out Johnson for using writers and teleprompters. While Cena allegedly did his best work off the dome, Orton later told KUPD that he got into a bit of trouble for the comments, accusing Johnson of tattling, which led to an exchange of words between the duo. Sternberger. The rules of football remain a hot topic in every league. The NFL has its fair share of secrets, but the public history of its competitors, including the UFL, is often rife with controversy and failure. Those changes between leagues often cause strife among players. Jace Sternberger was a tight end who started his NFL career with the Green Bay Packers in 2019. He played a total of 18 games and scored exactly 1 touchdown. Sternberger had brief flirtations with the Steelers and the Bills before he left the NFL behind. Finally, in 2024, Sternberger became one of the first members of the first all-UFL team. That's where he developed some antipathy for Dwayne Johnson. Johnson is one of several owners of the UFL, but his tremendous fame locks him into becoming the face of the franchise. As a result, players like Sternberger call him out as the architect of their issues with the league. In March 2024, Sternberger fell prey to the UFL's no forward progress rule, which ends a play as soon as a player hits the ground. This led to a potential injury when multiple defenders struck and swept Sternberger to the ground. He expressed his frustrations toward Johnson specifically on X, tagging Johnson and stating, "Imagine if I would have got hurt because of this expletive." Whatever involvement Johnson had with the decision, Sternberger clearly blames the famed league owner.